Hi, this is Saintis and welcome back to Forge of Empires, and today I'm going to show you the last level of the Guild Expedition in Forge of Empires in Space Age Asteroid Belt. So to begin with, let me just tell you that first, there is no longer any scheme regarding the armies, and there's also no rule for the rewards. They have nothing to do with the previous levels. And as you know, the best rewards throughout the entire Guild Expedition are all contained here in the last level. Finally, and it's probably the thing I should have said first, is that the attack and defense bonuses are much higher. As a matter of fact, if you remember in the last encounter, the army had a bonus of 175% on both attack and defense, but in this case, right up in the first encounter, they have 308%, which means that I no longer trust automatic battles to deal with the enemy, and so I'm going to be doing every single one of them manually. So in the first encounter, each of the waves has 6 units and 2 rogues, with those 6 units being split into 2 classes. In this situation here, I want to try the sentinels because they are the first one to strike, and I need to deal with those snipers first because they are the most dangerous. So in here, you can just strike whatever sniper you want. There's no need to be specific. And so as you can see, it is guaranteed that by attacking with those 6 sentinels, that I was going to take all the 3 snipers. But now I have a problem, which is that I have 3 light units and only 2 sentinels. In this case, I will have to try and take one out so that I can minimize the damage that I'm going to take. And as you can see, I got no luck, so not a single one of those sentinels has managed to deal a critical hit, which, as you've known from the Space Ages, units have the ability of dealing critical hit in which they deal twice as much damage and are pretty much guaranteed to kill the unit. Unfortunately, that was not the case, so now all that's left is for me to take out those 2 light units and then deal with the rogues, because rogues are always dealt last. So the first wave is completed, and now in the first wave, because the sentinels attack after the enemy fast units but before the enemy light units, I can deal with each of the groups with all my remaining 7 units. Which means that I should first try and take these 3 out. As you can see here, I've managed to do so. But now I should wait and let the enemy light units come to me, because they don't have the range to attack me first. And now all that I'm left to do is to take the light units and then the rogues. The rewards are always 2 forge points, which is very small, but don't worry, it gets better. In the second encounter, you always have 6 units and 2 rogues on the first wave, and 8 units split into 2 classes on the second wave. Fortunately for me, as I've told you before, if you have only light units on the first wave, you should be able to deal with them with solely 1 heavy unit from Space Age Mars and 7 rogues, which is what I'm going to take here. As for the second wave, fortunately, now I trust my army to win the battle, and so I'm going to do that so I can spare you some time. And as you can see, this just proves my point that AI isn't the best at fighting, so even though I've won, I've already lost half of my army. And had that been the first wave, that would have been disastrous for me. The rewards in this case are 20 goods from the current age or 4 attempts. As for the third encounter, you have 8 units on the first wave and 8 on the second, and the attack and defense bonus in here is 368%. Now, even though they don't have that many artillery, I'm still inclined to use my sentinels, because they are the first to attack. So I was thinking about attacking first with my sentinels, but now I realize that the enemy army is a bit too big, so I'm just going to attack the fast unit first and take the damage from the enemy snipers. So as you've noticed, I've lost a lot of health in units, so that was probably a bad idea. So in this case, I'm just going to strike all of them, and I don't genuinely think that I'm going to win this battle. Okay, fortunately I was left with 1 unit, but as you can see, this is not the best solution for that enemy army. The rewards in this case can either be diamonds, an upgrade kit for your Gate of the Sun God, or an upgrade kit for the Face of the Ancient. And in this case, it's sort of okay, so essentially these decorations are terrible on the first level, but once they're upgraded, the Gate of the Sun God will give you 4% defense boost for your attacking army, and Facilitation will give you 3% of attack boost for your attacking army. And it's the fact that these decorations are so small and don't need any roads that makes them a viable option, or at least, a mid-range option when it comes to efficiency and amount of attack bonus. In the fourth encounter of level 4 of the Guild Expedition, you have an attack and defense boost of 368%. And because my second wave is split into two classes, I'm still going to take Sentinels because I pretty much can ignore half of the army once I'm done with the first wave. However, the first wave is much difficult to deal with, and I'm going to have to be very careful here. So in this case, because defending army is very strong, I'm going to have to attack the fast units first and let the snipers attack my army, and only then am I going to try attack all of the units. So I've lost about a quarter of my army, which is not the best situation, but I still think that I can deal with the remaining 4 heavy units on the second wave. So here in the second wave, instead of associating each of the units with matching enemy units regarding height, in this case I'm just going to let them come to me in the first turn because they don't have enough range, and only then I'm going to try and attack them all. And so I've managed to win the fourth one, although I did lost about half of my army in total, and the rewards of the fourth encounter are 2 of the following, which is either 5 forge points, 3 random blueprints, the Gate of the Sun God, Face of the Ancient, or 2 blueprints from Temple of Relics. The fifth encounter comprises of 6 units and 2 rogues on the first wave and 8 units on the second wave, and in this case, because there are 2 artillery plus the 2 rogues, sentinels are once again the solution. So in this case, you'll want to divide your army into 4 pairs, as I've said before, so the first pair is here on top, then the second, then the third and fourth, and you'll want to associate each of the pairs to the corresponding enemy unit regarding height, so the top pair over here will be associated to the top unit, and so on. So I've managed to defeat the first wave, and now in the second, all I can do is just attack them straight on. By the way, if you haven't realized, you should attack first the units that have range, so I'll attack the sniper and the heavy units first, and only then will I go after the light units. The rewards in this case are always 5 forge points, and as for the sixth encounter, you have 8 units of one class solely on the first wave, and 7 units of one class and 1 unit of another class on the second wave. And once again, because the enemy comprises of fast units, I'm only going to take 1 heavy unit from Space Age Mars and 7 rogues. So I fought the first wave automatically because I knew that I was going to win with no health lost, and I'm still going to fight the second wave automatically, even though it's not the most efficient way of doing that, but I firmly believe that I'm going to win. The rewards here are either 25 goods or 4 attempts. And in the 7th encounter you have 8 units on either wave with no rogues. And fortunately here, because there are 2 artilleries on the first wave and 3 on the second one, I'm gonna take my sentinels with me once more. Now fortunately here my sentinels attack after the enemy fast units, but before the remaining part of the army, which means that I can attack either of the groups with my 8 sentinels. And so now that I've defeated the fast units, I should just make the other 4 units wait until the next turn. In the second wave there's no need to wait, so you should just attack them right away. The rewards in this case are either diamonds, a ritual flame upgrade kit, or a tribal square upgrade kit. So these upgrade kits are not really amazing because the ritual flame upgrade kit just adds another defense bonus for your defensive army, which is not what you should ever focus on. And the upgrade for the tribal arena doubles the amount of goods that you can gain from it, but it is not the most efficient event building regarding goods. If you want that, just build a sleigh builder. In the 8th encounter, the attack and defense bonus is about 400%, and because the second wave in this case has 8 artillery, I am forced to take sentinels with me once more. And in here I should just attack as fast as possible, deal with all the snipers and whatever heavy units I can, because it doesn't really help me if I wait. The rewards can either be 2 of the following, which is either diamonds, 10 forge points, a victory tower, a ritual flame, or a production building. The ninth encounter comprises of 8 units of one class on the first wave and 8 units of one class on the second wave, which makes it really difficult to deal with, especially because here you have heavy units on the first wave and fast units on the second one. But I feel like if I take all of the snipers with me, I should be able to deal with them pretty easily. So in the first turn, because the range of my units is a bit short, I'm gonna wait and let the enemy units come to me so that I have the possibility to attack them all. You can see I've won the first wave with minimal health lost, and this is actually because the heavy units are both so bad at moving and have such a bad range that I was able to attack them 2 times before they managed to attack me. In the second wave, however, because the units have much higher range, I only have one chance of dealing damage to them, and you should always focus on taking out the most units instead of dealing the most health. The rewards in this case are still 5 forge points. In the 8th encounter is an attack and defense boost of 398%, and there are no rogues on either waves. And because there are 4 artilleries in the first wave and 2 artilleries on the second wave, I'm still going to take sentinels with me. The rewards now fortunately get a lot better, and they can either be 30 goods, a shrink kit for your Fountain of Youth, or an upgrade kit for your Sacred Skywatch, and both of those are very good. So the Fountain of Youth works just like a wishing well. It gives you a random gift every 24 hours in a 3x3, and the shrink kit, just like the shrinking kit for the wishing well, reduces that space to a 3x2. As for the Sacred Skywatch in the 3x2, it usually gives you 1 forge point if motivated. However, with the upgrade kit, it can now offer you 2 forge points, which gives it a tile to forge point ratio of 3:1, which is okay, not necessarily amazing, but it's better than Shrine of Knowledge. And this is probably the most difficult army to defeat, so in the 11th encounter you have 8 snipers in the first wave and 6 heavy units plus 2 artillery on the second wave. And the only way that I found out to really defeat those snipers is to attack them first with sentinels. The rewards in this case are either 50 diamonds or a medals package. But strangely enough, now things get better, because you're going to see a lot of these setups where you only have to deal with heavy units and artillery. In other words, you'll only need to take artillery from now on. As a matter of fact, even though they have a 495% attack and defense boost, you can easily win by fighting automatically. And as you can see, I've won with no health lost, and the rewards are 2 of the following, which is either diamonds, forge points, a tribal square, a cultural building, or a 1-up kit. Okay, so apparently I was wrong. There is still one more encounter in which you can't just take artillery, but here I'm just gonna take 2 heavy units from Space Age Mars and 6 rogues. The rewards in this case are 10 forge points, and as you can see in the 14th encounter you only have to deal with heavy units and artillery both in the first and in the second wave. So here you can just take 8 artillery, fight automatically, and you'll guaranteedly win. And the rewards for the 14th encounter are one of the best in the whole guild expedition. So they're either goods, a Fountain of Youth shrink kit, or a terrace farm upgrade kit. So the terrace farm used to be the way to produce forge points. However, over time, a lot of event buildings with both military boost and forge point production ended up replacing them. But the upgrade kit for the terrace farm increases the forge point production from 5, I believe, to 12. Which is absolutely amazing. It improves its ratio from a 6 tiles to 1 forge point to about 2.5 tiles to just 1 forge point, which is good enough so that you can keep at least 1 or 2 of them. The rewards for the 15th encounter are either diamonds or a metal package. And finally, the rewards for the last encounter of the whole of the guild expedition are 2 of the following: a terrace farm, a renovation kit, a sacred skywatch, a store building, or a Fountain of Youth, and all of those are pretty much very good, except for maybe the Sacred Skywatch, but in that case you can just sell it in the antique sealer. The total amount of points you are expected to win if you fight in every encounter, and if you don't lose any of those encounters, is around 970 or 980,000. However, if you do negotiate, you will actually end up earning more than 1 million. As for the amount of diamonds, you are expected to earn on average 100 diamonds from this last level, which is a lot more than the previous ones. And in total, throughout the entire expedition, you're expected to earn about 160 to 170 diamonds on average. And while this is a nice treat, this is not the main way of earning massive amounts of diamonds. However, that's an idea for another video. And so that was my showcase of level 4 of the Guild Expedition, and jointly with the other videos my showcase of the entire expedition in Space Age Asteroid Belt. I hope you liked it, and I'll see you next time.